Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Rather, aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine. You want to be called an American.
You go to a reservation, you see poverty, you see churches, and you see liquor stores. When you go to any hood, you see poverty, you see churches, and you see liquor stores. So what make you think you're not on a reservation? Right? So all these achievements that we ascribe to African Americans, these are achievements by Native Americans who had to take on an identity of being African American because they was hanging us,
This means, in the case of an American Negro, it comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you, that the Indians were you.
But you think they was hanging people because they was Africans. Africans just want to go home. Nigga from here want to take his shit over. But you think they was hanging people because they was Africans. Africans just want to go home. Nigga from here want to take his shit over, want to take his shit over.
Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. The rock was landed on us. The rock was landed on us. The rock was landed on us.
Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people. Aboriginal means the original inhabitant of a land from the earliest times. The ancient mound builders that built and designed the pyramids right here, not just by the Nile, contrary to popular belief in denial. Pyramids and huge hieroglyphics and pictographs on the ground are all mounds found around the Americas, North, Central, and South, even Venus and Mars. That is documented fact that emanates from my mouth. So who exactly were these aboriginals here, whose ancient evidence of residency is hesitantly mentioned in this hemisphere? Were they the stereotypical Native American so-called Red Indians? Well then, let's be clear, ask Indian, their tribes if they're sincere, they'll tell ya those mounds predate their origins. Our past was erased and replaced with lies, our achievements and identity plagiarized. We got amnesia of who we are, but we go way back further than the seats in your car. Aboriginal people, 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 Aboriginal people.
Hey, this is JC, aka Afro Black, and I am here with ya for another delicious Black Sunday to drop nothing but the raw and uncut here on the Black Village Community Podcast. And I am here with you today, and I am happy to be here with you to share nothing but the raw and uncut truth. I want you to know there's a lot of people out there who cannot handle the truth. Have you ever heard of that phrase that Jack Nicholson said in the movie? You can't handle the truth. And I'm gonna let you know, there's a lot. Most of our people, most black people, cannot handle the truth. And that leads me to what I'm gonna tell you what's going on right now. I'm sitting here doing my show on my laptop. My desktop computer, which was my desktop podcast studio, has been knocked out of the box. It's been hacked. It's been knocked down. So right now I'm doing my podcast live from my laptop because just this past Friday somebody hit my computer and they hit it hard. And I couldn't, when I got up Saturday morning to prepare my, to do what I usually do in preparing, for a show, as far as, loading up my computer and getting my information and doing my research and getting my monologue and everything together. And my computer was knocked out the box. It got hit real hard. Can't do nothing with it. I tried to format it, reinstall the operating system, and nothing is working. My computer was hit hard. But that didn't stop a brother. I'm a soldier. I'm a warrior. I'm a truth seeker. And I want to share the truth with my people. So let me change up my backdrop music and give me something a little bit more easy to vibrate to. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Some J-Bach in the backdrop. So yeah, so just because there was a little technical setback, my desktop is down, I got a backup, which is my laptop, and I'm here doing my live podcast as I do every delicious Black Sunday to share with the conscious community nothing but the raw and uncut here from the Black Village. You feel me? And so today's podcast topic is a continuation from last week's podcast topic, and which is, and I quote, the Black Moors, are they indigenous or just ambiguous invaders from Africa? You feel me? This is a continuation from last week's podcast topic. You know what? I believe I'm gonna have to continue this into a part 3 and a part 4 because of the research that I have done. And so in that being said, let me start this podcast off by stating first, let me also share with anybody, you can't call in to my conference room. And so anybody who wants to call into the show, my toll-free numbers right now, due to the fact that my desktop podcast studio computer is offline right now, you cannot call in. But you can join me via chat, and you can listen in to the live podcast as I do the show right now. So as I stated, anybody who wants to join the show, you can go to Spreaker.com and look for the Black Village, and you can join me via chat, or you can just chime in and you can just listen in, via iTunes or YouTube to listen to the show, or you can just go to straight to Spreaker.com and you can listen to my live show as I do it, as it's going on right now. So that being said, let me get this show on the road. Okay, and so let me start by first saying this, okay? This podcast topic that I've been doing, the Black Moors, this podcast topic was done for the sole purpose of truth and integrity, and for the basis of setting the record straight of what signifies indigenous aboriginal identity prior to any foreign reclassification. Also, I state emphatically and proclaim as an indigenous aborigine of North America who has renounced and openly professed that I do not believe, nor practice, nor promote any form of any foreign religious customs, rituals, or ceremonial traditions of any kind of any alien people foreign to my people and their customs, traditions, and religious practices that are not indigenous to my homeland, originally inhabited by the ancient ones, the first people of Turtle Island, also called the ancient autochthonous people of America. I want to state that before I go into my podcast. You feel me? That's what's going on. You feel me? And so let me continue this because, over the week, I've had some brothers on Google who are Moors get at me. And I've had some brothers drop some truth. I had some brothers tell me that, the Moors were here before the Europeans, and the Moors were the first ones here. And, look, I'm just going to be raw and uncut about it at this point due to the fact that my computer got toppled, But before I get into the raw and uncut on that, let me still state, like I said, the Moors have done a lot of good, at least the modern Moors over here in North America, from the WASHITAW Moors to the Nubian Moors. They've done a lot for the Black community, but that doesn't erase nor take away the history. That does not make the history of the Moors, of what they stand for, where it originated at, and what it represents. That doesn't erase that. You feel me? You can't erase where you came from. You feel me? And so far, last Sunday podcast topic, I've already established the fact by 2 audio casts that I played, as well as information that I read off, that Moors are from Africa. the reclassification, the identity, the creation, it originated in Africa, in a ancient city called Mauritania, which is today called Morocco. And by the 7th century AD, Morocco, or Mauritania, was taken over by Muslim invaders. And as a result, it became Morocco. Now, we got brothers over here who have initiated themselves and have joined the Moors. But see, when you talk about the Moors here in the U.S., that goes into a history of talking about Noble Drew Ali. It goes into talking about the Empress of the WASHITAW Nation. It goes into other aspects. But when you research their history, at least from the Moor aspect, because the sister of the WASHITAW Empress, the WASHITAW Empress of that sister is indigenous to America. But when you bring in a religion, whenever you bring in ritual practices that are not indigenous to this country, that is a foreign religion. That is a foreign. You cannot bring Islam over here and then claim that you are indigenous over here. No. You cannot exclude your religious practices and just say, well, because I was born over here, because my mama was an Indian and my daddy was an Indian, but they both was Moors, now I'm an Indian and I'm a Moor. No, you an Indian by birth, but you know what? By religious customs and by religious practices, you're not an Indian. By religious customs and religious practices, you a Moor. Raw and uncut, just like that. But you know what? Back into the point of what I was talking about last week of why these Moors get so much respect from Europeans. Why do these Moors get so much respect from the white devil? Well, let me read some of this, okay? About what they have done for the white man. And what did the white man do for them? So we're going to go into that today. What did the white man do for the Moors that they get so much respect? And what did the Moors do for the white man? Well, let me go into this right here. I'm reading from my monologue. Now, I'm on my laptop, so you guys bear with me as I go through this information, okay? Also, the word Moor was interchangeable. Let me drop on down. The word was interchangeable to describe a people of African descent written in history. Also, African Moors had an empire that's spanning from the region of North Africa to southern Europe, as the Moors ruled Europe for nearly 800 years, from 711 to 1492 AD. And as a result of the Moors ruling and preserving both the Arabs and Europeans in African history, and then exiled later on from Europe, but before then they excelled. Before they left, and what cracked me up is that they literally just removed themselves from the European colonies. They didn't. It was almost as if there really wasn't a war. It was more of a war for them to go in and take it over than it was for them to leave. Now, there was some wars that went on before they left. They didn't just leave. They did take a war, but it doesn't seem like it was really pretty much of a fight at all. But they excelled in advancing mathematics, astronomy, and agriculture, as it was the black African Moors that saved the white Europeans from the brinks of extinction, which was called the Dark Ages, and into the Renaissance age, when they took over Europe and had a 99% literacy rate. In other words, Europe was practically 99% illiterate. The people could not read, and that's because the Catholic Church was controlling all the resources of information. So when the Moors came in, Europe had a 99% illiterate. They were illiterate. But afterwards, after the Moors came in, they brought up the literacy rate to 99%, where 99% of the people could read, and they also created universities. When the Moors came into Europe, they only had 2 universities of education. Okay, and 0% of usage of the universities by the public. In other words, they were not allowing the populace to take advantage of education when it came to the universities. But the Moors came in and ruled and built 17 universities and 70 libraries that was built. They built 70 libraries and 17 universities in Europe. Basically, they were helping the Europeans. Okay. The African Moors even brought their form of education, which was only known to the which is the only known form of education to the Europeans at the time. In other words, the Europeans basically didn't have a classroom setting. They didn't really have an organized educational system. The Moors brought in their form of education and taught the Europeans how to teach education, how to create a classroom. The Moors did this for the Europeans. Okay. Let me go down some more about what I got. It says when didn't have any form of education system in place of then what the Catholic Church had wanted the public to know. The African Moors kept Europe from being behind from being behind the intellectual doom. Okay, all right, let me drop on down. So the Moors basically preserved history, preserved education, taught them how to clean themselves, taught them how to let me go any further, as well as haircuts. Wait a minute, let me go down here, talking about how the Moors taught him how to keep. Let me see. All right, there are many achievements and cultural and hygienic benefits the Europeans owe to the preservation of the African Moors, being like hygiene, cleanliness, toothpaste, bathing, washing daily, and deodorant, as well as haircuts and beard and mustache shaving, among the many. African Moors also taught the Europeans how to build communities that benefit the Europeans, like hospitals and street lights and running water and sewage system. And the African Moors also built a water aqueduct from the mountains that sent water to the communities. Man, come on, man. I see why them white devils kissed them black Moors' feet. They owe everything to the Moors. You feel me? Now, let's get down to some more information here, okay? I got something I want to now the problem, now that's the good things that benefited, what I'm talking about right now, the things that benefited the white man that the Moors did. Okay. So the white man is in debt to the Moors. The white man is in debt to the Moors. So the question is, just because he's in debt to the Moors, why do he continue to show his respect to the Moors? And as I said again, we got to talk about, when you talk about this goes into other aspects of history. Anywhere from what was the white man doing with the Moors, and what was the Moors doing with the white man, in the exchange of the fact that the Moors preserved the white man's culture. Yes, the Moors preserved their culture. They could have destroyed the white man when he was at his weakness, but they didn't. They could have literally enslaved their whole culture, but they didn't. They had more of a serfdom type relationship. You know, the slavery that went on in Europe was not chattel slavery. The Moors did not practice chattel slavery on the Europeans. And to further the history, okay, and their relationship with the English and these white devils, let me be raw and uncut about it. The white man would have never came over here to North America if it wasn't for the Moors. The Arabs and the Africans have some of the oldest maps. So when I had brothers getting at me telling me that Moors were over here before the Europeans, okay, that's validated. I researched that, and there's some truth to that. The Moors were traveling the waters before the white man was. Matter of fact, the Moors gave navigation skills and navigation technology and latitude and the latitude of what to go in left, north, and west, and the North Star. They gave that knowledge to the white man, or the white man would have never known how to travel the waters. White man would have never made it over here, most likely, and if he would have never made it over here if it wasn't for the Moors. So now when I was reading this information, matter of fact, let me go down and read some of this information. Okay, because I had a brother get at me over the weekend telling me, hey man, the Moors were over here before Europeans. So let me read this to you, my people. I got some history right here called Islam in America Before Columbus by Hisham Zobeir, dated February 14th, 1998. Okay, and it goes like this. Before the West declared themselves the great scientists of the earth, before their own renaissance, Muslims already were making discoveries in science that took the West hundreds of years to even begin to imagine. What a shame that the people in Europe were being persecuted by the church for their superstitions that the earth wasn't round. They should have come to the Islamic world. An Afghan Muslim had proved that in 793. However, the study of the universe brought forth more questions and more curiosity. The Muslims in the West Africa were so intrigued by what was on the other side of the Great Sea that they began their expeditions into the great unknown. As early reports, these travelers when it comes to reports of these travelers are sketchy, but we can be sure that they crossed the Atlantic by 889 CE. That was over 603 years before Columbus. And that is not counting the actual physical evidence in the United States today that dates back even further. However, we do know, as DeLay O'Leary pointed out, that Muslims definitely had the scientific knowledge and skill to make journeys across the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, let me go on down. So that's one excerpt taken from a history book, okay, that was written by Hashim Zabir. All right, let me read some more information to you. Alrighty then. Oh, I got this on here twice. Let me see. All right, now before I go any further and read some more information, let me play something that I want you to hear. Okay, I got an audio cast that I'm going to play, and the reason why I'm going to play this audio cast is because it speaks to my point. Like I say, my point of doing this podcast on the Black Moors, I have no personal issue with them because they can do what they want to do. I'm not a Moor. I will never be a Moor. I'm not a Muslim. I will never be a Muslim. I am an Aboriginal, Indigenous, Cherokee, Blackfoot, Choctaw black man. That's who I am. Okay. For spirituality and my way of life, I embrace the spirituality of my ancestors. You feel me? I give honor to the Great Spirit Mother. That's totally against Islam. Islam don't worship a great mother. Islam does not acknowledge any spirituality of my indigenous ancestors. No disrespect to Muslim brothers, but you know what? It's hard to talk to brothers who take things personal when you give your personal perspective. You feel me? I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. I'm just being raw and uncut. You feel me? My ancestors, the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Blackfoot, when I dug off into their history, when I dug off into their customs and their traditional practices, I don't see Islam. I'm sorry. You feel me? Islam is for the Arab. Christianity is for the white devil. You feel me? I'm not a white man, and I'm not an Arab, and I'm not a Muslim. So I don't acknowledge neither one of those things. So let me play this right quick, and we shall return as I continue this subject matter on the fact that the Black Moors, are they indigenous or just ambiguous invaders from Africa? I shall return in just a few after this audio cast.
A lot of the founding of America was based on Moorish science. If you see paintings of the inauguration of George Washington, it looked like a Masonic ritual. So again, Masonry is based on Moorish science. So they would have these Moorish advisors around them. If you look at old paintings of George Washington, you will see George Washington standing next to a black man with a turban, And remember, when you see the black man with the turban, that's a Moor. That's not a slave. See, people automatically assume that black is slave, but slaves didn't wear no turbans. Because remember, slaves weren't allowed to practice no Islam or any other kind of religion except Christianity. So when you see that turban, that's a black man. And there's a few pictures of George Washington and other people with Moors or black men with turbans standing next to him. When you see that, just know that those are more.
There you go. If you see a little, if you get a little hesitation in me growing, because I haven't, this studio dash panel that I'm using right now, it's been a while since I used it, because I'm on my laptop. So this is a different studio that I'm using right now, podcast that I'm using right now. But did you hear that? Did you hear what he said? He said that whenever you see a picture of a so-called forefather, they call me, I don't even like using that term forefather, but when he said when you see pictures of George Washington or any of them guys from the colonial period, you see a picture of a black man in the backdrop somewhere with a turban, that's a Moor. He also mentioned that they were advisors to these guys. They were advisors to George Washington. Huh? Look, come on, let me play that again. I gotta hear that again.
A lot of the founding of America was based on Moorish science. If you see paintings of the inauguration of George Washington, it looked like a Masonic ritual. So again, Masonry is based on Moorish science. So they would have these Moorish advisors around them. If you look at old paintings of George...
You heard it right there. These brothers were in the bedroom, at the office table, at the lunch dinner table. They were sitting there with the white man. And then they want to talk about that they were here before the white man. They brought the white man over here. Now, you got these modern Moors today that say, well, that got nothing to do with me. That was them. But you're a Moor. You represent them. You're part of the same club. You initiated into the same club. Now you want my people to initiate themselves into the same club. I don't think so. My goodness, man. So you look, this is Raw and Uncut, just like this here on the Black Village Community Podcast. You feel me, people? I'm on my laptop. I'm not even on my desktop studio that I'm used and comfortable to. Troll hacker and just knocked off my computer Friday night. My computer got knocked off. I'm a little upset right now. Get me all riled up off in here. I'm gonna be Raw and Uncut with you straight up like that. You feel me? But matter of fact, let me drop something else, because this is just making me angry. Then let me drop something like this here. Let me drop something about.
Hold on, black son of a bitch.
That's how I'm feeling about right now. Knock my computer off, man. I'm on my laptop doing the show.
Hold on, black son of a bitch.
Raw and Uncut just like that. You feel me? But you know what? Again, okay, as you just heard, these brothers are in the bed, in the office, right there with George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, and the rest of them white devils. You feel me? Now, let me get down to a little bit more specifics, okay? Let me get down to some of these treaties, okay? Some of these treaties that the white man made with the Moors, you feel me? Like the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787. I mean, I've had brothers talk about, come on, crack me up. This is back again. Just back to the point again. How are you indigenous? Well, you want to say, oh, well, the white man did treaties with the indigenous people just like they did it with us. Yeah, but see, you came over here with the white devil. You black Moors came over here and navigated the waters and showed the white man how to get over here. And I ain't talking about the English. We can go back to the Spanish. The Spanish had Moors on their ships too. The Spanish were the first ones to come over here. Huh? Columbus had a Moor on his ship. White devil didn't know how to navigate the waters. They were afraid they were going to fall off the waters. It was you niggas that showed them how to get over here. How can Moors be trusted? Somebody tell me. How can they be trusted? Somebody tell me. You feel me? Now, I'm looking at this treaty. I got a copy of the treaty right here. I'm looking at it. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship, 1787, between Morocco and the United States. Morocco and the United States. A peace treaty. Okay? So, I don't even want to read that. I don't even want to read it. Okay? I'm finna go somewhere else. I got something else sitting right here. Okay? Matter of fact, let me read this article right here. The Sundry Moor Act of 1790. See, these brothers know. They already know this. They've studied this. They know this. They know this plus. And I want you to know, people, I got a whole lot of the information that they got. So I know a lot of what they know. Not everything. They know a lot. These Moors know more than what we know. Let me read this. Okay, this is the 1790 Act of the Sundry Moors. Free Moors of South Carolina and Turks of Sumner County of South Carolina had significant ethnic diversity during colonial times. The free Moors of South Carolina had been sold into slavery in the Middle East, brought to North America as slaves from Africa, and earned their freedom and petitioned the legislature that they not be carried off again into slavery. The Turks of Sumter County, that's how it's pronounced, were either pirates or escaped from pirates, according to the General Sumter, and were present before the Revolution. These families also are often reluctant to discuss what they know of their heritage. We are here slowly accumulating sources, documents on these people. Okay, let me go down. The Moor Sundry Act of 1790 was passed by South Carolina's legislature, granting special status to the subjects of the Sultan of Morocco, Mohammed bin Abdullah. It recognizes Moors as white people with jury duty as privileges. Moors were not to be subject to laws governing blacks and slaves. Why would I want to be a Moor? I'm not white. Don't want to be white. You just heard me, people. It recognized Moors as white people with jury duty as privileges. Moors were not to be subject to laws governing blacks and slaves. Okay? Let me go on down. I could read the petition. I don't want to read the petition, okay? You can go get this yourself. I found this on the internet. Just type in. There's a whole bunch of information up there. This right here, you can Sundry Moors Act of 1790. Okay. Let me go on down. All right. Free Moors and petition rulings. Let me read that. Edward Ruffledge reported from the committee referred to the Free Moors petition. The order for the immediate consideration of the matter was read and agreed as follows. They have considered the same and are of the opinion that no law of this state can in its construction or operation apply to them, and that persons who were subject to the Emperor of Morocco being free in this state and not trialable by law for the better ordering and governing of Negroes and slaves. So basically, they ruled in the favor of the Moors. The legislatures did. But wait a minute, what was they ruling? I mean, what was this about? What was they trying to escape from? What was they trying to make sure didn't happen to them? Why was they put in this category of whites so that they wouldn't be judged or treated like blacks and slaves? Well, let me read it to you. Let me show you what they were running from, okay? They were basically running from the Act of 1740 that governed slaves. And let me read it to you. It says, wherein the majesty this is called the Act of 1740. It's an act that talks how there was a law that was governing slaves here in the Americas. And it goes like this. Whereas in His Majesty's plantation in America, slavery has been introduced and allowed, and the people commonly called Negroes, Indians, mulattoes, mestizos, which are basically Mexicans, have been deemed absolute slaves. Let me read it again. Whereas in His Majesty's plantation in America, they call America a plantation. Did you hear me? This act that I just read called the entire country a plantation. It says, whereas in His Majesty's plantations in America, slavery has been introduced and allowed, and the people commonly called Negroes, Indians, mulattoes, and mestizos have been deemed absolute slaves and the subject of property in the hands of the peculiar persons, the extent of whose power over such slaves ought to be settled and limited by positive laws, so that the slave may be kept in a due subjection and obedience, and the owners and other persons having the care and government of slaves may be restrained from exercising too great rigor and cruelty over them, and that the public peace and order of the province may be preserved. We pay your most sacred majesty that it may be enacted. Basically, just making black people, black Indians, mixed brothers and sisters who are mixed with black Indian, and Mexicans who are nothing but mulattoes and mixed breed black Indians, perpetual slaves. And the Moors wanted to escape that, which is understandable. It's understandable that they wanted to escape from being put or considered perpetual slaves. But my point is this: they were only deemed not slaves by accepting the reclassification of being white. They were also deemed not slaves because they were also reclassifying themselves. I'm not talking about those who this applied to. I'm talking about those who today who make themselves Moors, and anybody after the 19th or the 18th century. Now you are an African. You are white African, matter of fact, or according to the agreement of this legislature, that they honored the petition on the fact that you are white. If you are Moor, you're white. I don't understand that. You a white African, I guess. I mean, that would make sense to me. Somebody explain that to me, but I'm pretty sure they can break that stuff down. You feel me? Raw and uncut just like that here on the Black Village Community Podcast. So, also let me tell anybody, you can't call into my show. My lines are down due to the fact that my desktop computer is down. So I am on my laptop doing my show from my laptop right now. So let me go on down. I got something I want to read that came from a brother who is a Indian Muslim that I thought was important. Okay, here it is right here, called Native American Muslims. This message was posted July 1996. My name is Mahir Abdul Razak El, and I am a Cherokee Blackfoot American Indian who is Muslim. I am known as Eagle Sunwalker. I serve as a pipe carrier warrior for the Northeastern Band of Cherokee Indians in New York. There are other Muslims in our group. For the most part, not many people are aware of the Native American contact with Islam that began over 100,000 years ago by some of the early Muslim travelers who visited us. Some of these Muslims travelers ended up living amongst our people. Let me stop right there. Again, verification of my point. Islam is an alien religion to our people. It was brought here. It is not indigenous to North America. I'm going to say it again. No disrespect to my Muslim brothers. And what I don't understand is why you guys get mad when somebody tell the raw and uncut truth. I'm not lying. Whenever you show me that in history there's a starting point, that means it did not begin over here. You just heard me read. This brother said that it started. He said that they came over here and some stayed. He said it was brought over here over 1,000 years ago. So if it was brought over here, that means it did not begin over here. That means it was brought over here by somebody else. That means a foreigner, an alien, somebody from another country, somebody who's not indigenous to North America brought it over here. You feel me? And when you got, and I'm gonna tell you something else would really get under my skin. when it comes to these Muslim historians. Now, as long as you stay within the chronological period and time frame of when Islam started, which is between the 6th and 7th century is when it started, and then you go anywhere after that, I can accept it. But when you go into the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st century and Islam did not exist, and you want to call people Muslims, that's when you got an issue with me, because that's not true. Now you're manipulating and you're altering history. Again, like I told you, my point of doing this podcast was for the integrity of truth, the integrity of my people, of reclassifying my people somebody that they're not. I'm not a Moor, and my people are not Moors. My family are not Moors. My Aboriginal brothers and sisters are not Moors, and we're not Muslims. And you cannot separate being a Moor from a Muslim today, just like you can't separate being a Muslim from being a Moor if you were born in the territory of where those who call themselves Moors. Raw and uncut, just like that. Let me continue to read on down. Okay, let me continue to read this brother's post. His name is Mair Abdul Razik L. Okay, down to the next part. He says, for the most Muslims and non-Muslims of today, this type of information is unknown and has never been mentioned in any of the history books. There are many documents, treaties, and legislations and resolutions that were passed between 1600 and the 1800s that show that Muslims were in fact here and were very active in the communities in which they lived. Treaties such as the Peace and Friendship that was signed signed on the Delaware River in the year 1787. And this is true. You get no argument from me that Muslims were here before and during the European conquest. But see, you guys ain't telling all the truth, though. I mean, the truth is there for people to read for themselves, but this brother is not going to tell you that it was the Moors who helped bring the white devil over here. This brother is not going to tell you that Moors also helped enslave black people and hunted black people down, black Indians. This brother is not going to tell you that the Moors traded their own African brothers in Africa, helping Mussolini kill Africans, helping other white people colonize parts of Africa. The black Moors with their fezzes on their heads was right there in Africa killing their own brothers and sisters. Huh? How can I trust the people that got such a treacherous and hideous past? Raw and uncut. You feel me? Let me go along further with this brother's post, okay? He goes further. He says the treaty details our continued right to exist as a community in the areas of commerce, maritime shipping, current form of government, and at that time, which was in accordance with Islam. According to the federal court case from the Continental Congress, we help put the breath of life into the newly framed Constitution. All of the documents are presently in the National Archives as well as the Library of Congress. If you have access to records in the state of Carolina, read the Moore Sundry Act of 1790. Okay, the brother's talking about stuff I already know about. Okay, and my position on this is that it only substantiates the fact that Islam is just as an alien and foreign entity as the white man himself. You came across the waters and you came over here and you said you're living in peace with my people. No, you're not. Not really. No, you're not. No, you're not. You brought a foreign religion over here. That's not living in peace with my people. Just like Christianity is a foreign religion. Islam is just as foreign as Christianity is. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with any personal. I'm not trying to personally attack nobody. I'm just being raw and uncut. Okay? If you're a Muslim, I apologize. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody on a personal level. We're talking about the integrity of history. Okay? We're talking about the integrity of history. If you are to be a Muslim, you should be a Muslim in your own personal life. I'm not saying that you can't share Islam with somebody. I'm saying that you don't turn around and say that Islam is indigenous to America, because it's not. That's a lie. Islam is not indigenous to America. Christianity is not indigenous to America. The people are indigenous. And the customs and the traditions and the culture that was created here is indigenous to here. Now I'm gonna give you some. You know what? I'm gonna continue this subject matter because I'm going to get on the Wichita Moors in my next podcast subject. And you know what? I got more respect for the Wichita. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the empress of the Wichita people was not trying to spread religion. Her point was the fact that she wanted her land that her people owned and wanted her people to be able to operate and to control their land. That's what she wanted. The empress of the Wichita nation. I can respect that. But when you run around calling people Moors and I've had brothers tell me you're a Moor. No, I'm not a Moor, man. Will you stop calling me a Moor, bruh? I'm not calling you a Christian. I'm not going to disrespect a Moor and call him something that he's not. They shouldn't call me something that I'm not. We need to learn to respect and love each other. Okay, now that we have religion over here, we got Muslims over here, we got Moors who are Muslims, we got Christians, we got the different branches of Christendom, and that's a personal thing. You feel me? We need to learn to respect each other and not offend and hurt one another and violate one another because we don't share the same faith, because we don't share the same religion. We got to realize that indigenous culture is one thing, and your personal faith, that's something separate. That's your thing. Don't mix it in and call our indigenous ancestors Muslim because they weren't Muslim. Don't, just like a Christian should not call our indigenous ancestors Christians because they weren't Christians. That's the only thing I'm saying, people. If you are a Muslim and you know that your mama was a Cherokee, if you are a Christian and you know your mama was a Chata, if you are a Hebrew Israelite and you find out your mother was an Ojibwa or Yamasi or Yuchi, respect that culture. Don't change the culture because your faith or because you so caught up in your faith that you want to make all your people, you know, something that they're not. And you can't force people to accept something that they're not. We got to learn to love each other and respect each other and not violate one another just because we have strong faith or passion about our faith. You feel me? That's all I'm saying. You feel me? I can respect a brother who's a Muslim. I ain't got a problem respecting that brother. Just respect, give me the same respect that I give you. That's all I'm asking. You feel me? And don't lie about the history. Don't lie about the past. Tell the raw and uncut truth. That's the only thing I'm saying. So, you know, I got my brother right here. Only brother with me on chat. Hey, my brother. Hey. I'm going to chat at my brother right here while I'm on the show because I don't really get into the chat. But I love this brother because he always here by my side. You feel me? And you know, brother, look, I respect you too, brother. I respect you, brother Hamid. If I'm going wrong, if I'm doing something wrong, brother, please let me know. You know? Brother, tell me I'm telling the truth. I respect my people. Just we gotta respect one another. I mean, prime example. Also, let me say this: my Black Village on Google Communities and my Black Village on Facebook. My Black Villages that I have, I try to gear to show information, indigenous information to my people. That's the whole point of the village. Okay. Is to share information, indigenous information, not the white man's information, not my information, not somebody else's information, not religious information, but to give pure historical information to my people. That's the whole point of the reason why I created the Black Village on Google and the Black Village on Facebook, is to give factual, truthful, raw and uncut information. That's why you got people sometimes who want to come into the village and they want to post stuff about Christianity, or they want to slander homosexuals, or they want to post something about Islam. And I have to tell people, no religious rhetoric in the village. And the reason why is because the village I put together specifically to show and to share indigenous historical information. That's what it's for. So Anything that's in there that's on the religious aspect has to be indigenous. Anything that's in there historically has to be indigenous. Anything social has to be indigenous. Because the whole point of me putting together the village is to educate my people about our culture, our ancient culture, our ancient past. So I've had brothers tell me, "Oh, you supporting homosexuality?" No, man. Look, number one, I'm not gay and I'm not a homosexual. I worship the pussy, okay? I honor the pussy. I came out of the pussy, and I'm trying to get back up off in it anytime I get a chance. Raw and uncut. You feel me? So, and I got 7 sons and 2 daughters. I'm let you know, 100%, 100 plus beef coming raw and uncut here. You feel me? My point is this: I am not promoting gender violence. I'm not promoting homophobia. I'm not promoting patriarchy. I'm not promoting ego. I'm not promoting macho. I'm promoting truth. I do my black village to promote truth. I'm not trying to promote no religion. I'm not trying to promote any European or African, Pan-African consciousness. I'm promoting indigenous, autochthonous, Amerindian, Black Indian truth. That's the whole reason why I do what I do. Okay? And I want people to understand that. So you understand. But if anybody who've heard me, if you heard me just now, then you understand my position. That's why I do what I do on my show. That's why I do what I do on my village, on Google Communities, and that's why I do what I do on my Black Village on Facebook. Raw and uncut, just like that. You feel me? So now that we understand that, let me get back on point. Okay, now I got some more information I want to share before we get out of here. My time is ticking down, but I got some more information. I got some information I want to read right here called Pre-Columbian Muslims in America. Again, I will give it up to the Muslims. All right, give it up to the Moors, intelligent people, technologically advanced people. You feel me? Obviously knew a lot of the information that came out of Egypt. They kept that information. They preserved that information, and they exceeded and excelled in that information. I give it up to them. But I got to give it up. I got to be raw and uncut though. I question a lot of what they've done. I question why they've done it, and I question why they haven't apologized to the black community for what they've done. They've shaken hands with the white man. They came into agreements and treaties with the white man to preserve their own reclassification, to preserve their own sovereignty. Okay? It wasn't for the benefit of the indigenous community. It was for the benefit of Islam. It was for the benefit of Morocco. It was for the benefit of their own sovereignty that leads to North Africa. Okay, raw and uncut, just like that. So let me read this right quick. This is by Dr. Yusuf I can't pronounce his last name, okay? But it goes like this. It is evident that the people of Muslim origin are known to have accompanied Columbus and subsequent Spanish explorers into the New World. The last Muslim stronghold in Spain, Granada, fell to the Christians in 1492 CE, just before the Spanish Inquisition was launched. To escape persecution, many of the Christians fled or embraced Catholicism. At least 2 documents imply the presence of Muslims in Spanish America before 1550 CE or 1550 AD. Despite the fact that a decree issued in 1539 AD by Charles V, King of Spain, forbade the grandson of Muslims who had been burned at the stake to migrate to the West Indies. This decree was ratified in 1543, and an order for the expulsion of all Muslims from overseas Spanish territories was subsequently published. Many references on the Muslims' arrival to the Americas are available. They are summarized in the following. Okay, but my point, look, this right here is proof. They were here. This is proof right here. Muslims were over here first. But them being here first does not solidify a damn thing, in my opinion. The reason why it doesn't solidify anything, it's only proof that they came over. It's only proof that they brought a religion that was not indigenous to this land. It's only proof that they brought a classification or a reclassification to North America that was not indigenous. It was brought here. That's my point. Claiming sovereignty, claiming treaties, and the white man has broken and destroyed and lied and went back on, I don't know how many treaties, we can count them. He went back on every one of them. He did it with my indigenous ancestors, so him doing it with the Moors and breaking his treaties don't surprise me. But looking at this information only solidifies my point. And what point is that? That Moors are not indigenous to North America. Not their religion, not their brotherhood of Moorish science, not their club of initiation. None of it is indigenous to North America. You just want it to be indigenous because you were born here or because you have lineage here. You want to make your religion indigenous to North America, and you need to stop lying about it. You guys need to stop lying. And then you know what? And you need to tell the truth about your history. Even though a lot of it is out there, I don't see him preaching about it. I know my ancestors enslaved your people. They ain't talking about that. I know my ancestors brought the white devil over here to kill thousands of your ancestors. I don't hear them talking about that. But we know it's there for people to read if they seek it out. But it's not like they're out there putting it out there for people to read either. So, raw and uncut just like that. No disrespect to my Muslim brothers and my Muslim sisters. If you guys took me as being disrespectful, I apologize. This is a podcast that's about filtering the mess from the rest so that we can have the truth. That's why I do what I do. You feel me? Let me have this brother right here drop it to you, the raw and uncut right here. I want to play this right quick. This brother right here. Check this brother out.
For example, in Western Africa alone, there are thousands of different ethnic groups who speak a different language, have different cultures, and have completely different worldviews and religions. So why in the world would they view each other as the same when they don't even speak the same language? You know, I find it interesting that people are willing to accept the differences between Europeans and Asians, but when it comes to Africans, they all of a sudden want to paint one broad stroke and completely ignore the diversity.
That's what I'm talking about, people. We cannot ignore culture. We've been brainwashed by religion. We've been brainwashed by the system. We've been brainwashed by European ideology and patriarchy. We've been brainwashed by government policies and procedures and legislature and treaties. We've been brainwashed by religions that have morphed into cultures. You feel me? Well, Islam is a culture, but it's a religion. You feel me? So whatever it attaches itself to, it subdues that culture into its own culture. And so what I'm saying is this, that we have to care about our true culture. What these other religions are doing, what the same thing what the government is doing, same thing that Christianity does, same thing what Judaism does, same thing that Hebrew Israelites do. It subdues the indigenous culture. It buries the indigenous culture. Now I'm pretty sure you got somebody out there that would disagree with me on that. Oh no, it don't. It doesn't bury the indigenous. Yes, it does. If I do not know that my culture did not worship from a male aspect, that my ancestors from my original indigenous ancestors, the Amerindian, the autochthonous ancient ones, worshipped the great mother, the great spirit mother. They called the planet in how they believe that our ancestors believed that the planet enclosed and housed the spirit of the great spirit mother, and that the great spirit mother is what feeds us and gives us life. To take away that is to take away a part of the culture, because the people created that here. I'm not saying that you got to embrace it. I'm saying acknowledge it. That's what I'm saying. Don't lie about it. Don't bury it. Tell the raw and uncut. If you don't worship and honor and acknowledge the Great Spirit Mother because you're a Jew, because you're a Christian, because you're a Muslim, because you're a Moor, wonderful. Do what you feel is real, but don't lie about the history. Don't lie about the culture. Don't bury it and don't manipulate it. That's the only thing I'm saying, people. And that's what happens a lot of times in the cases when it comes to our history. It gets buried because people don't want to acknowledge it because their religion tells them, well, don't go there. So, raw and uncut, just like that. You feel me? And so I'm going to let everybody know that, as I said, my computer is down. My computer is down. Now, when my computer will be back up, right now I'm on my laptop doing the podcast. I'm not sure. I'm working on it because they hit it hard this time. They hit my computer real hard. You feel me? And they hit it so hard to the point that even after I had erased my hard drive and reformatted my hard drive, I'm still getting the same error message on my computer. So I'm in the process. I was already in the process of looking for a new computer. So as it stands right now, if I end up doing my show next Sunday on my laptop, nobody will be able to call in to the show. You have to do what my brother right here doing, and you have to chat with me for me to hear what's going on. But I'm doing what I can, people. I'm doing what I can, because what I do is a mission. This is a mission of mine to drop the raw and uncut. So, but let me make this point again, people. It is very important for us to hold on to our indigenous history, regardless if you live it or not. We should know it so we can pass it on to our children. Our indigenous culture, our indigenous customs, our indigenous traditions, and us as far as our indigenous identity. We must embrace it. I have no problem with anybody with their own personal religious perspective and beliefs. But when you attach those beliefs, when you attach those religious customs to our indigenous people and say, well, this is what our people was doing, then you're lying. And that's why I come into the picture, and I'm going to correct that lie. I'm going to tell my people you're lying. My people indigenously were not Muslims. Our people were not indigenous Christians. Our people were not indigenous Jews. Our people were not indigenous Hebrews either. So black folks need to wake up, and we need to realize we got a lot of religious dogma out there. Yes, that's what I call it, dogma. Whenever you change the past, alter the history, just because it feels good to you as a religious person of whatever religious perspective you are. That's not the truth. So we got to be a people of truth. I'm not saying that you should change your religion. You can be whatever religion you are, but be honest and have some integrity and be truthful about our people and about what they were and what they used to do. Don't be trying to plant yourself over here as if you were over here forever and you wasn't. Don't be trying to plant religion over here that was not here, that was not created by our people. So, raw and uncut, just like that. And I will definitely be back next Delicious Black Sunday to share nothing but the raw and uncut truth here on the Black Village Community Podcast. And my brother's still there. Yeah, he's still there. And I'm going to let this brother know I really appreciate him coming. He's always here, joining me here. So, but we got to go. I will be back. I will be black, dropping nothing but the raw and uncut next Delicious Black Sunday here on the Black Village Community Podcast, as I always do. Dropping nothing but the raw and uncut. And so I can't quote my phone numbers because my phone numbers are down. Nobody can join me. And so hopefully next week I'll have my desktop back online, or I'll have a brand new desktop. You feel me? And so again, let me say this before I get off the air. No disrespect to anybody's religion. Okay? I'm just giving you the raw and uncut truth. Okay? And if I came across a little too harsh or a little too hard, I apologize. But I got to give the raw and uncut when it comes to my indigenous history. when it comes to us as a people, we have to learn to respect one another's differences on a personal level and still have an integrity and honesty about our historical past. We must not lie. It's no different than black people who want to believe that millions of Africans came over here during a so-called transatlantic slave trade. You got black folks who are not Muslim, who are not Christian, who are embracing a lie, a European narrative, and feeding it to the people. So I'm talking about us embracing truth, regardless of what your religious past or regardless of whatever your religious preference is, regardless of whatever you embrace and follow. Let's care about the truth and the integrity of our indigenous people and our indigenous past. It's the same thing when it comes to African culture. We have to care about the integrity of what we're being told, the integrity of what we're being fed as a people. Because a lot of times we're being fed lies. So on that note, my people, I gotta go, but I will definitely be back. Next delicious Black Friday, dropping nothing but the raw and uncut here on the Black Village. And before I go, let me play this one more time. I love this.
For example, in Western Africa alone, there are thousands of different ethnic groups who speak a different language, have different cultures, and have completely different worldviews and religions. So why in the world would they view each other as the same when they don't even speak the same language? You know, I find it interesting that people are willing to accept the differences between Europeans and Asians, but when it comes to Africans, they all of a sudden want to paint one broad stroke and completely ignore the diversity.
That's what I'm saying, people. We have to care about the diversity. We have to care about the truth. We have to care about the culture. Everybody's culture is different. Nobody's culture is the same. And so we have to care about the integrity of the past, the integrity of history. The white man is not the only one that's marring, twisting, bending, and altering the history. We got people from different religious perspectives that are doing the same thing. And so, on that note, I'm going to end my show. I will be back next delicious Black Friday. And I believe I might just continue this, into the Wichita Moors. I personally kind of think I think I've did enough to even cover the Wichita Moors, to point out that Moorish identity is a reclassification. And you cannot separate Islam from being a Moor. Whenever you see a Moor, there's a Muslim right there, because that Moor is a Muslim. And so, I'm not trying to speak bad. I'm just being raw and uncut and honest. So ain't nowhere in the world you're a Moor and you're not a Muslim. Because if you're a Moor and you're not a Muslim, then you're not a Moor. But if you're a Moor, you're a Muslim. But you can be a Muslim and not be a Moor. So on that note, people, I will be back and I will be black. Nothing but, I will be back and I will be black and indigenous and aboriginal as I drop nothing but the raw and uncut here on the Black Village every delicious Black Sunday. And I ask you guys, pray, keep me in your prayers. Yeah, as I said, my desktop computer got hit this Friday, and so right now it's literally out of commission. And I don't even know how to fix it. I mean, it literally got knocked out of commission. I can't see nothing on the internet. I can't do anything. And yet I keep my computer secure, keep my firewall update, keep my antivirus update. I keep it cleaned. And everything. I keep my computer updated because I use it for my show. And I have all my shows, information and research, and my studio, everything was on that computer. But this Friday it got hit real hard, and it got hijacked. My computer got hijacked, and so now I can't do nothing with it. So I'm right now I'm doing my show from my laptop, and my laptop kind of limits a lot of what I can and cannot do, and how fast I can do it too as well, because I'm dealing with a studio that's a little different than the one that was on my desktop computer. But I will definitely be back. You feel me? If I have to, I'm going to give me a brand new computer. If they knock off this laptop and knock it out the box, no problem. I got another laptop. You ain't gonna stop me. I'm gonna still, as long as I got breath, I'm gonna drop the raw and uncut truth, because that's my mission. That's what I'm meant to do. I don't care that nobody don't like it. Turn off my turn the station. Don't listen to me. So I will continue, and I will be back. So on that note, I gotta go. And as I always say, may the Great Mother bring us together in the unity of her peace and her love. And as always, I love chicken. So love, peace, and chicken grease. I got to go.
Aboriginal people, 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 Aboriginal people. No matter where you go in every country, we in there. Most of us did not come on slave ships, we've been here. Indian just means amalgamated more. The U.S. tried to wipe us out in 3 Seminole wars. For each Aboriginal, 7 troops died. 90% of Indians were reclassified as Negroes. We fought European foes. Africa's great, but we don't look under our nose. Or now here's the Old Man River, or the Massey Single, knock out the Mississippi. We're the Yamasee people and others here like the Washitaw, the Chocos in Colombia, Darietas in Panama, the Garifunas and more. We're prisoners of war. Our titles, nationalities, and birthrights ignored. We got a huge missing gap in our past and been divided into race and some type of caste. Everyone else has a language, where's mine? Cause ours is long gone like your grandpa's hairline. Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal people, Aboriginal